Order. We'll do the pledge. Gigi, would you lead us in the pledge? Please rise, take your hat off, put your hand over your heart.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This time we'll observe a moment of silence. Madam Secretary, call the roll.
Shivi, Breckus, Zadra, Delgado, Dorch, Jardin, Cashel.
Here. Go to public comment. Gigi Exum. Yes, ma'am. Your turn. Identify yourself for the record.
I'm Gigi Atem. Friends. Good afternoon, Mayor Cashel, members of the City Council, and Mr. Klinger. My name is Gigi Atem, and I'm one of the captains of the Sagebrush Soccer Club Lady Nomads. We're a U16 competitive soccer team made up of high school girls from the Reno, Sparks, Carson City area. We recently qualified for the National President's Cup Championship next week in Greenville, South Carolina, as U.S. Youth Soccer's Region 4 representatives. We are the first ever girls team from Nevada to qualify for the National President's Cup Championship. We qualified by competing in a series of state cup challenges, then advancing to a regional competition in Morgan Hill, California, just 2 weeks ago, where we went undefeated, beating some of the best teams from all over the western United States to win the Region 4 title. Of course, we would not have reached this level without our terrific coaches Garrett Moss and Marco Merlot and our super supportive parents. Competing in the President's Cup Championship is a dream come true for us, and we are proud to represent the state of Nevada at this national competition. And we are not going there just to compete. We are going to South Carolina to win for Nevada. The all-inclusive cost for our team to attend this event is approximately $30,000. We have been feverishly reaching out to families, friends, community members, businesses, and leaders to ask for financial support and contributions to help us cover the cost, and are thrilled that we have so far raised over $15,000 towards this goal. Thank you, Mayor Cashel, for indicating that you will donate $1,000 to help us compete in the championships. We are extremely grateful for your support. Of course, we welcome other tax-deductible donations. My teammates who are here with me have information about how to donate, and we are very proud to represent the state of Nevada, and especially Northern Nevada, and we will do our very best next week. We ask you cross your fingers and wish us luck by cheering us on from over 2,000 miles away as we attempt to bring the President's Cup to Nevada. Thank you again for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I know we can't get our donations on until the 16th agenda, so it'd be 2 weeks before we could actually do it, and you guys are going next week. But as long as we make the commitment, I mean, assuming you could probably figure out a way to offset that for a week or so. So in that, I mean, I'd commit 1,000 of my discretionary funds.
Great. Anybody else got any extra discretionary funds?
If we're keeping our discretionary funds, I'm in for 1,000 as well, and we'll know that next week.
We'll know that next week.
And if you give me your, I don't have any discretionary funds right now. It's sort of a little a little tricky, but Plato's Closet is happy to donate to you guys. So make sure you give me your contact information.
Yeah, I'm in as well, certainly on a personal level, and assuming we keep our discretionary funds with the budget reopening, I'll certainly give some of that as well.
Likewise.
Me too.
Well, we raised $6,000 right now. What the hell? You just got to.
And you guys do have to explain to us why your clock runs backwards. It's supposed to go from 90 down, not 1 up to 90. And then however they figure how many minutes you get for overtime or whatever you call it confuses me, but I'm hooked.
Well, congratulations, and thank y'all very much for representing our state and everything. I know you'll do an excellent job and have a lot of fun. Try to get the goalie from America's team to come play with y'all. Or tell your goalie to watch them and take lessons. Well, thank y'all and congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Matthew Schultz.
Council, my name is Matthew Schultz. I am the Executive Director of The Generator. I've spoken in front of you before, about 2 months ago, and we created a 34,000 square foot warehouse in Sparks, Nevada. And the whole goal of this warehouse was to try to educate everyone in the act of building, creating, building art and industry. And over the past year, we have grown quite prolifically. We've had over 5,000 individual visitors come through the space, and we've raised nearly $600,000 to create a free space for everyone in our community to come and create and build art. We want to move this idea forward. The dream that we've been kind of chasing after for the past 5 or 6 years is to build large-scale art using a community and a collective of people and bring them together, teach them how to use tools, how to do woodworking, how to engineer, how to build and how to design, and to inspire new generations to create. Right now we're in Sparks, and it's a beautiful place that we're in, but we want to be more central to our community. We want to create a place where everyone can easily come and build whatever they like. And so we're introducing Generator Phase 2. Effectively what we're asking is for a small retract parcel that's off of 250 Chisholm Street. It's the former lumber yard. It's right at the start of where Dickerson begins and Chisholm ends. And what we want to do with this parcel is we want to create a private public art park. We have a number of pieces that we've built over the years, a full-scale Spanish galleon, and now a 70-foot tall pair of people in an embrace, about the same scale as the Statue of Liberty, which we're currently building in Sparks. And we would like to donate those back to this art park to create a world-renowned sculpture garden within our city. This sculpture garden would then include art from people from all walks of life, from around the nation and around the world. That's the initial vision of Generator Phase 2. The second aspect of this vision is we would like to create a live-work area where we can take and we can have 12 residencies that are offered to people from around the world for business innovation, arts innovation, and technology innovation. And the idea is that the residency is a one-year program, very similar to a master's degree program, where we have great minds come to Reno to compel forward great ideas. We want to create small business and small business growth in Reno. We want to take this city, the city that I love, and create a very firm foundation for greatness for all of us. The third phase that we want to look at is taking what we've built in Sparks and transferring it into Reno. So take the generator and creating a green upcycled warehouse space, an industrial space that's based on green renewable technology, one that we can use to show the nation that we can build effectively using clean energy technology and show everyone that it's not only economically feasible, but it's economically preferable. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Yes.
Have any of you guys been there to the generator?
No, I haven't seen
It is amazing. I would encourage everyone to go. I mean, what you guys have done there is phenomenal. It is phenomenal.
It's amazing what we've been able to enable. Everything's completely free.
Yeah. You gotta come.
Effectively,
It's amazing.
effectively, it's all been through donations. That $600,000 that we've raised over the past year has been an enormous boon for us, and
Okay.
we try to share it with everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, if it's appropriate, I'll put this on as an L item for future council direction and discussion to staff on this, and if you have any sort of term sheets or anything that you can get to us in advance of that meeting, that would be helpful. But I'll put it on as an L item for our next meeting, and I think it also raises bigger questions about how to get the best from those retract properties, because we get a lot of these requests, and some we've responded to, and I think there is an opportunity for public policy benefits from some of the retract properties within the restrictions of some of our debt on those, so
Yeah.
we'll bring that for a discussion at this table at a later date.
And it's very important that we want to work with everyone in this community and ensure that we have a multitude of interests that are being responded to. We have an ability to leverage a huge amount of resources here. Effectively, we have links into all of the founders of Google and Facebook through our main funder, who's one of the first 23 employees of Google. And so if we can do something really compelling in Reno, something that gets their attention will stay here, and we can do something quite magical in this city.
Okay, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Stephanie Rice? Oh, excuse me one second, Ms. Rice.
Robert Chisel, Director of Finance and Administration. Just want to point out we have an L item on the agenda, number L7, to discuss the generator and the retract parcels
Oh, okay.
Super.
on today's
Someone asked-
agenda. So.
Did someone ask for that last time? Oh, sorry.
Yes. Now, Ms. Rice, it's your turn. Identify yourself for the record.
Stephanie Rice. Good afternoon, Mayor Cashel, Mr. Klinger, and council members. It's my understanding that today Mr. Klinger is asking this council to agree through a new contract that in the event he's terminated without cause or laid off, that his severance pay effectively increase from approximately $95,000 to $191,000. In 2013, Mr. Klinger's total pay and benefits was approximately $267,000. Let's put that into perspective. For the same time period, the governor of the state of Nevada, Brian Sandoval, his total pay and benefits was approximately $183,000. And the vice president of the United States of America, Joe Biden's salary was approximately $230,000. Yes, the vice president of the United States of America made more than $35,000 less than Mr. Klinger's total pay and benefits in 2013. But that's not what is most offensive about this request. It is no secret that the city of Reno is having budget problems. Mr. Klinger himself has stood before this council and the people of this city and empathized with the firefighters scheduled to be laid off this year as a result of the city's ongoing budget problems. Recently, Mr. Klinger stood before this council and advocated for passage of the early retirement program, which provides that Reno Fire Department employees with 15 years of service or more are eligible for a one-time payout of $20,000 in order to retire early. I'm respectfully asking this council to carefully consider what Mr. Klinger is requesting. Mr. Klinger is asking that, in the event that he is fired or laid off, just like the city is working to do to many of our firefighters, that he is provided with a similar type of one-time payout, except Mr. Klinger is not asking that he be compensated the same $20,000 as an early retirement payout, likely because Mr. Klinger has not even put in 5 years of service with the city, let alone 15. Instead, he's asking that he be paid a severance of 1 year's salary, which is almost $200,000 if he's laid off or terminated. Mr. Klinger wants this council to agree to pay him more than the highest-ranking official of this state if he is fired or laid off. The most important purpose of the position of city manager is to protect the finances and business matters of the city. Standing up and representing to this council that there's not enough money to keep all of our firefighters and representing that we must lay many of them off, then, less than 30 days later, coming before this council and asking that in the event he faces a similar circumstance himself, that his contract provide that he be paid almost 10 times what we are offering to buy out our firefighters as an early retirement payment who have more than 15 years of service with this city is hypocritical and quite frankly shows that Mr. Klinger is only interested in protecting this city when it suits him. Job security does not come in the form of a contract with severance pay. Job security comes from job performance, and I'm respectfully asking that this council deny Mr. Klinger's request.
I'm not sure Mr. Klinger made that request, but we will take it under consideration. And the only reason he would get that is if he was terminated for, without cause. Other than that, he wouldn't get any of it. Jeff Church?
Good afternoon, Jeff Church. I'm a Reno resident, and I strongly support what Ms. Rice said. We are broke. I was sad to see last week that the council voted not to retain the services of Fisher and Phillips Law Firm for our various labor issues. I want to remind council that various experts have said and told you directly that unless we address these runaway costs, Reno will be broke by 2016, not far away. Reno Career Police and Fire are the highest compensated in the entire United States. The Fact Finder report, which you're going to discuss under J1, was very favorable to Reno's position, that they are broke. Meanwhile, the SAFER grant ended yesterday. We have red flag fire danger warnings, and Reno continues to close stations. 11 firefighters have been bought out already. Reno still refuses Washoe County's offer of automatic aid, and yet Reno fiddles, correction, the council fiddles as Reno burns. The law firm vote leaves us citizens more confused than ever. What do you intend to do? Are you going to give in to the demand for an 8% raise? Are you hiring a labor expert in-house? You can break down the vote if you'd like, specifically to hire the law firm solely for the purposes of dealing with the police and fire contracts and nothing else, such as the appeal or other agencies. Please inform the public as what's going on, because I don't understand and I don't think others do either. On that vote, Reno Councilperson Hillary Chevy, and I apologize for mispronouncing the name, voted no to hire the law firm. Yet she failed to disclose that she accepted campaign money from both the police and fire unions in her mayor campaign. She twice took the maximum amount from the RPPA and $1,000 from the IAFF. She did not disclose that prior to the vote. Is it required? Probably not. But the Ethics Commission indicates that if in doubt, one can always disclose such important information, and if it's enough to sway your vote, then you should abstain. I also note that Ms. Chevy told us that if we weren't going to vote on it or voted no, she would talk to the fire union and try to reach some compromise. So I look forward. I'm very anxious to hear the results of those meetings. Now, I urge Reno to consider their options for labor representation. Clarify your intention to the taxpayers. With the court decision, the budget shortfall, Reno should consider seeking CLGF state taxation oversight. And finally, my last 40 seconds, last week a wife of a firefighter spoke at this podium and said that her poor husband, about to be laid off, only made $22 an hour. Well, we looked it up. His base pay of over $76,417 comes out to $38 an hour, not $22. But wait, there's more. He made $122,137 pay and benefits last year. However, that's only half or less than half of what the highest paid fire employee made last year, even more than Mr. Klinger. So anxious to hear about the results of the meeting with the fire department, and I urge you to consider hiring legal representation. Thank you.
Mr. Church, I would like to clarify that on our campaign expense reports, that's where we put those donations. So it's public record. You're welcome to look at it. So I did disclose. And also I'd like to point out that many of us on this council have been supported by these groups as well. Thank you, sir.
Mark Markell?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Ms. City Council member, and Mr. Klinger. My name is Mark Markell, and I'm a concerned resident. The reason I come up here every meeting is because it's it's my mission in life to talk about drunk driving and make sure people don't allow passengers in their car when they're drinking and driving. I'm brain injured, so I don't know what I'm saying half the time. Well, I know, but I don't. Okay. What my mission in life is to make sure people don't get in the car with drunk drivers, and drunk drivers don't allow people to get in the car with them. If they want to take their own lives, that's fine. But there's other innocent victims involved in drunk driving crashes, and I just want to be sure that people don't take other people's lives when they drink and drive. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Sam Dene.
Sam Dene, the Encyclopedia of Reno Government and the media darling. Sam Dene, that's me, is Air Force Academy graduate, spent many years flying fighters and bombers, defending our nation, trying to protect an honest voting system, which Reno did not have in the last election. You can look at the numbers. I don't know how they steal the votes. I don't know where or who steals the votes. It is a guaranteed fact that the results in the DEHNE election do not compute by any analysis of any scientific agreement. 21,180 votes does not turn into 208 votes. That is a flat, outright, unbelievable, impossible, and anybody who doesn't understand that is a fool. At any rate, you don't understand it? Is that anyway, just kidding. Changing the subject a little bit, anybody out there who doesn't believe that Dene won that election for mayor is wrong. The facts prove it. At any rate, I'm up here to talk about my favorite person today mostly. But before I do, I'm pointing out that these folks here just put $6,000 into the soccer trip, which is a great thing, but I want you to know that those people are not paying for your trip. It's the taxpayers who are paying for the trip. And I'm not trying to be negative about that, but I just don't want you to get the wrong idea, because you know what Sam is doing? Sam is sticking in his discretionary fund, which is his own fund, not the taxpayer fund, and I'm putting in the last $100 that these young ladies will need to go back east and win that tournament, or at least do their best. Now the rest of the time I want to talk about my favorite person, Sam Dene. People say, Sam, what have you ever done? What have you ever done? You come up here and you talk and you're the most extemporaneous person we've ever heard in our lives. You don't have a teleprompter, you don't have cue cards. What have you ever done? Okay, I'm going to make a quick list of some of the things I've done all by myself. Maybe with a little support from the bureaucrats up there. Sam Dene is the only person who ever came up here and spoke in favor of this thing called Jam On Basketball. Now it's grown into 500 teams a year coming here to town. Sam is the only person who spoke in favor of that. Another one is this Burning Man. Washoe County wanted to shut Burning Man down. Sam was the only citizen who came to the podiums and said, don't shut it down. Over and over again, they didn't shut it down. Sam is responsible. How about the Discovery Kids Museum? Nobody ever spoke in favor of that except Sam Dene at these podiums. The bureaucrats put their money into it, your money into it, but Sam spoke in favor of the Kids Museum. The Air National Guard movement, they wanted it, the big shots in Washington wanted to send the Air National Guard out of town. Sam was the only one who came to the podium and said, keep the Air National Guard here. I could go on and on. The chief of police is here because of Sam Dene, the only person who ever came to the podium and said, hire Mr. Pitts. Last but not least, even the city manager, I'm sorry, young lady, I was the only one who spoke in favor of him being the city manager. Could I have a couple extra seconds like the rest? I've got a big, long list of things I've done.
We're not going through the whole list. We appreciate it. We've heard them before.
It's a long list.
I know it is.
You know it is. You know it is because you've seen every one of them.
Thank you very much. Now, Sam, hand the little lady there the $100.
You heard me, didn't you?
You didn't give it to her.
It's the last 100.
Oh, no,
That's how you do these things.
no.
It
The
primes the
last
pump. It
100
is the
she
last
needs right
100.
now.
They said they need 30,000. If I give it now, they may not try as hard. Now they'll
if
try
they don't-
really hard
if
to
you-
get Sam's $100 bill.
Oh, no, oh, no.
What are you doing now? What are you doing, Bob?
I'm gonna put up 100 with you, and you give that lady.
You're pulling money out of your own pocket. Now, ladies and gentlemen, notice that. That's not tax. Well, the taxpayers pay his salary, so indirectly it is.
Sam,
But I
if
won't
I
go there.
depended on this
This
to make
is
a
his
living,
own
I'd be
money.
starving to death.
This is his own money
Now-
out of his tequila
Now,
fund.
Mr. Dene, I don't want to go
That-
any further.
Was that out of your tequila fund? We don't want you to have to cut back
Let's
on that.
Bring that 100 up here. Bring that 100 up here and come on up. There, thank you. No, 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 no. I've been here 12 years and I've seen this same $100 bill for 12 years. I want to make sure you get that $100 bill. All right? Thank you. I've been seeing that $100 bill. That was worth $100 right there. Just now we have witnessed. Ladies, have a good trip and go over there and take names and, well, you know what to do with the rest of it, okay? Thank you, guys. Oh, God, that was so much fun getting that 100 out of Sam. Oh, that's made my day, Sam. After 12 years, oh, Lord, that feels good. I almost have to take a break to settle back down.
Can we call that your last official action as mayor?
No, sir. You
Almost.
still have about 133 days. City managers report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to take this opportunity to remind the City Council and inform the public that our 2014 State of the City Address has been rescheduled for Wednesday, August 27th here in the chambers. The time of the event is still to be determined. The State of the City was previously scheduled for July 16th, but in light of the recent development that a budget workshop has been scheduled for Tuesday, July 15th, we felt that delaying the State of the City was appropriate given those proceedings. Second, a friendly reminder that Art Town, Reno's month-long celebration of the arts has begun and continues until August 1st. The 2014 festival features 32 days of events, including musical and theatrical performances, interactive presentations, workshops, clinics, art exhibits, children events, and more. An event called Revolution on the River will premiere in downtown Reno on Sunday, July 13th from noon to 5. The event is free to the public, and attendees are encouraged to bring a picnic lunch. And finally, I wanted to take this opportunity to remind the public that the City of Reno offices will be closed this Friday, July 4th, in observance of Independence Day. And we just would ask that you be safe in your celebrations. You please drive sober. Don't use illegal fireworks, especially considering our region's extreme wildfire danger. That's it.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we go to approval of the agenda. Before we do, item E4 has been pulled. Public comment, we've done. Proclamations, none. We have a presentation, item D1, Kitski Lane. Then we will be hearing items F1 and F2 as we go along here. At this time, Chair will entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Moved, second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those that oppose, no. Motion carries unanimously. All right, now, cash disbursements, any disclosures? Chair will entertain a motion for approval. Have a motion, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those that oppose, no. Motion carries unanimously. Presentations, Kitski Lane, safety management presentation. Really glad you guys could come because you just, oh, he's gone now. You just got to see a historical moment. Getting $100, oh, here he is. I was just telling them they got to see a historical moment with you, Sam, so. Glad that, you didn't go get it back, did you?
They wanted me to autograph it.
Sure.
Good afternoon.
Go ahead, sir.
Jim Sergiola with Nevada Department of Transportation, Safety Engineering. To give you guys an update and a presentation on the Kitski Lane study that we're working on. So the Kitsky Lane study is a safety management plan that we've done.
Now, ladies and gentlemen at the council, this screen is not working.
It's broken.
So we need to go around on the other side, or you can change your chairs. Yeah.
There's handles, but there's some pictures that I want everybody to see real fast. Some of the stuff that we looked at when we did the study on Kitsky from South Virginia, excuse me, to Galeti. Some of the conditions that we looked at during the study, which we are looking at mitigating, is a lot of ADA issues came down the line. As you can see, poles in the sidewalk. We have pedestrian issues out there, significant pedestrian issues up and down this corridor. Kids running through traffic. It's quite interesting to watch. Some of this stuff is scary, actually. The sidewalk to nowhere. And then this picture, I don't know if anybody can see this, the red car. What's wrong with this picture? The red car is going the wrong direction in the turn lane. So those are some of the issues that we looked at when we were doing this study. Again, this is a tape measure, 24 inches between a pole along on the sidewalk. Wheelchair can't get through there. Bus stop, not too good, actually. Again, pole in the sidewalk, no ADA clearance. Again, ADA and ADA, and the sidewalk just disappears. And this ramp was quite interesting. Not quite sure how it got there. So anyway, those are a lot of the issues that we're really investigating in this study. And to give you guys an update, the next step is to develop projects from the recommendations from the report, and then implement some of those projects. Of course, funding availability. The priority of the recommendations, I just list them up here. The timelines are: priority 1 are simple actions that the district can take. Priority 2 are projects, future coming down the line, and priority 3 are long-term projects. We discussed these at our public hearing, the last one we had, and we're still on track to be doing all of these in these timelines, talking 1 to 2 years for the priority 1 for the district and doing some studies. Priority 2 is projects 2 to 5 years down the line, and then the long-range projects are 5 to 15 years down the line. And the timelines we're still looking at, again, 2013 to 15 for the priority 1 recommendations. We're right in the middle of that as we speak. 2014 for the priority 2 to 2019. We're just in the beginning stage of evaluating all the issues and the recommendations that came out of the report. And then again, for the final, the 2019 to 2034 for the priority 3 recommendations. Those are the higher level recommendations that we addressed. With that, that's all I have for the update. So we're moving forward with this and making some good progress. We've got a lot of evaluation still to occur. And at that, I can take any questions that anyone might have.
Go ahead, Councilman.
I just wanted to hear the update and reaching out to the businesses on Kitsky, the car dealerships and such. I know there was a conversation about eliminating some parking spaces.
There was, and we are still in the process of, again, going through the process of developing the projects. We have a lot of public outreach to do still, and it is our duty and our goal to sit down with everybody along the corridor in the fact that we are investigating removing the parking, and not only say removing the parking, but coordinate it to improve the facility for all modes of transportation. So we are in the process of setting up those meetings as we speak.
So you haven't had any quite yet?
We have not, no.
Okay.
Thank you for the presentation. I think I'm the one who asked for y'all to come back.
Okay.
My recollection from last spring when you came was that you maybe would be getting out and doing some restriping, maybe this construction season, and there could be some improvements that way. Have you done any restriping, or are you going to get there yet?
We have not. We had a period of time where we were at a stall, and now we're in the process of discussing that information with our district, and they're the ones who could easily go out and do the restriping and putting up signs to help us for the pedestrian and bicycle issue. More so, I want to say southbound right at Moana is where we have that.
Southbound at Moana, okay. Where, and maybe the needs there in association with the redesign of that intersection and just help that, or?
Hopefully we can stripe and sign to at least help.
Okay, and then The relinquishment program, I mean, is it your policy when you make these kind of investments into essentially what are urban streets, that you want the cities to come up and say, yeah, we'll take it on as a maintenance responsibility and relinquish it for your state highway system? Is that where you think you want to go, or is that policy?
I don't have an answer for that. I'm not sure
Okay.
about the relinquishment priorities on that. That
Okay.
would be a different division. But I certainly could, Tom Greco is with us today, and between Tom and I, I'm
Yeah.
sure we can get you the answer that you
Yeah.
need.
I mean, here's what happens, and this happens all over, is states, the old highway system, as the cities grow, they want to give those to the cities, and then the cities are like, oh, we don't want them because it's a maintenance responsibility. But it's kind of I think, a trade-off, and I think there's been some minor relinquishments in this region. So, Mr. Greco, is that where we're headed with this?
Thank you. For the record, Tom Greco, NDOT. The relinquishment program is basically not anything different than what was previously in the NRS. We evaluate, we look at roads that we believe would be better under local control. We offer the road. You get to say yes or no.
Yeah, okay.
That's basically
Okay.
it.
And I'm sure our Public Works Department's like, oh, no, another road. But, I mean, I think it is important that we get this road improved for the safety. And that brings another question of funding. And I know this has to go through the RTIP and the STIP and all, but, and some of us sit on the RTC, but what's the funding source for the far-out projects? Do you see any locally derived funds needing to come with this project?
Our safety program funding, federal, is about 21 million a year, statewide, and it is eligible to do needed safety improvements on any road, regardless of ownership. So we're trying to stretch that as we're able to.
Okay,
May
okay.
I
I'm
add
just
to that?
knowing the
Sure.
federal funding is in such question. We have a reliable local source here, but I guess all that'll have to get worked out.
Yes.
Right, and it's our goal also to, this is a win-win-win in my eyes for the department, for the city of Reno, for the RTC, because Kitsky Lane it needs some work, and to do cost sharing. And we're in the process of trying to develop a methodology to use cost sharing. So it's not all of NDOT safety funding or NDOT funding, but we can also coordinate with the RTC and the city to combine funds to make these improvements.
Okay, I see it. I mean, I'm just speaking as one member here, and we don't have an up-to-date master plan that says this is our policy priority, but I do see this as a policy priority because of the safety issues. So thank you very much.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This time we'll move to the consent agenda. Any items you want to pull for discussion?
E5?
E5? Any others? Chair will entertain a motion to approve. No public comment? Jesus.
Move with,
Have motion and second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those that oppose, no. Motion carries unanimously. E5.
My question is, it'll be real brief. I just thought this was a great opportunity to showcase working with some nonprofits that are doing great work with the parks, and what a great location being at Ottawa Park. Can you guys just give a quick summary of how that's going to take place and time frame here during the summer and into the new fiscal year?
Thank you. For the record, Julie Conway, Parks, Recreation, Community Services Director. Mayor, City Council, and City Manager Klinger, this is an agreement before you, in a lease agreement, as well as a agreement that we would work with the Truckee Meadows Parks Foundation and have them be a contractor with us to provide services throughout our system. So we are interested in stepping up that partnership, and so what would occur is we've already worked with the Truckee Meadows Parks Foundation, and Nate Daniel is in the audience, who is the executive director. And so that agreement is here before you today. And in addition, what they are able to do and what we would like them to do is that the building currently at Idlewild Park across from California Building is vacant. And so they have a need to have a space to run their operations out of. They were very successful in getting a grant from AmeriCorps that they will be bringing in, I believe, 4 to 5 young individuals to help provide these services. So it'll help the city in offering these services through and to what we're doing, as well as being a presence at Idlewild Park. So we're very excited about that. They also are working with Washoe County, so it's really a multi-agency cooperation. And beyond that, if you have any other questions specifically related to what they'll be doing, I'm sure Nate Daniel would be more than happy to expound on that. But we're very excited about that, and we do recommend that you approve this agreement.
Thank you, Julie. Just again, I think it's great that we're working with outside agencies where we can fill the need, and especially if it's a vacant building in Idlewild Park, I think it's a great fit for us. And I'm excited to see this kind of happen too, exactly with the AmeriCorps, also with the students. They're going to be able to work with those groups that I know their goal is, mission is to work with those Title I schools. So thank you. Move to approve.
Have a motion, second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those that oppose, no. Motion carries unanimously. Public hearing, item F1. Madam Secretary, of all the notices have been sent.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, proper notice was given, and we received one letter of concern from George and Leslie Kilbride.
Mr. Mayor, this is Bill number 6908, case number LDC 14-000535, Life Church Zone Change, ordinance to amend Title 18, Chapter 18.08 of the Reno Municipal Code entitled Zoning, rezoning a 7.3 acre site located east of the intersection of Yeehaw Way and Desert Way from large lot residential 2.5 acres to single-family residence 15,000 square feet, together with other matters properly relating thereto.
Move to refer, and for the record, that is absolutely in recognition of the email that we received from a resident out there. Their concerns will be addressed at a future time when they come in for an SUP. Their concerns aren't related to the zoning that's in front of us today.
Okay.
Could we get a staff report on this?
Have a motion. Let me get a second first.
I'll
Second now, discussion. Staff.
And can you show up a map? I know.
Nathan Gilbert, Associate Planner. The site, it affects three parcels totaling 7.3 acres. It's directly, immediately north of Damani Ranch High School. It's surrounded by single-family SF-15 zones in all directions. This component would ultimately be, from what we understand, with the church's future intentions, this in the Damani Ranch PUD, it's also owned by the church. And in the future, they do intend to come forward with a special use permit to allow a house of worship church. But as Councilwoman Zadra pointed out, that is a next step. The Planning Commission, at their June 4th meeting, unanimously recommended approval of the change to the SF-15 zoning designation.
Let me ask you, because I'm trying to, it's in a cooperative planning zoning area, and I've got the Google Maps up, which allowed me to see better the setting. The property that backs up to the east, and I'm talking about Gold Mine Drive, Mule Circle area, is that, and it's interesting because Google Maps is showing that as Macaulay Ranch Road, the one that north, rather than Gutton, which you're showing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, where is the city-county line? I'm having a real hard time figuring that one out.
You can see illustrated on this map.
Oh, okay.
City limits are right here.
So that,
there's just a handful of parcels remaining with the large lot residential designations. They're county pockets. It's a county island.
oh, okay, so our zoning is to the north on that LLR2, but that's county, unincorporated Washoe County.
To the north of this subject site is unincorporated
Washoe County,
It's
but
not-
we have
it's a county
zoning
island.
authority there, so
We
we've
do.
zoned that. And to the east, those residential SF15, we have zoned those, but those are unincorporated neighborhoods, correct?
No, that's in the city of Reno.
Oh,
It's
those are in the city?
Golden Hill subdivision.
Which subdivision?
Golden Hill.
Golden Hill.
Mhm.
Okay, okay. Well, I am going to support this. I wanted to ask you one more other thing. What planning area is this in? What plan covers this? Has looked at this area and said these are the appropriate land use mixes and
It's in the Southeast Neighborhood Master Plan.
Southeast Neighborhood Master Plan? Is that a county plan
It's a
or is that a
It's a
city
neighborhood plan, City of Reno, which largely encompasses this area, as you know, is predominantly planned unit developments.
Okay. Is that a plan that the county did that we just said we adopt and we're going to adopt it?
No,
or
it was a city-initiated neighborhood plan.
Southeast Neighborhood Plan. What is that plan, which is the vision for this area, talk about in terms of introducing non-residential institutional uses to this area?
To my knowledge, it doesn't address that.
Silent.
Correct.
Okay. But, okay, well, I will support it in lieu of any other policy direction, because I do think that the infrastructure is there on Rio Wrangler, and there's an institutional use to the south. So, thank you.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those that oppose, no. Motion carries unanimously. Item F2, Madam Secretary, have all the notice has been sent?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, proper notice was given and no correspondence was received.
Mr.
Okay.
Mayor, this is Bill number 6909, case number LDC 14-00027, Heart to Hand School Reactorway Zone Change. Ordinance to amend Title 18, Chapter 18.08 of the Reno Municipal Code entitled Zoning, rezoning a 1.3-acre site located at the south terminus of Reactor Way, 565 Reactor Way, from neighborhood commercial to public facility, together with other matters properly relating thereto.
Move to uphold the recommendation of the Planning Commission.
Have a motion, second?
I have a disclosure on this, Mayor. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, the proper motion is moved to refer.
Move to refer.
I have a
Good.
disclosure on this. Okay. My daughter attended this school when it was at a previous location. I used to serve on their board, and we provide a little, my family provides a little modest financial support to them on an annual basis, and and we attend some of their sponsored events and keep abreast of what's going on at the school, but I do not feel that rises to a level that would prevent me from doing my obligations to vote on this, and there's no conflict of interest. Thank you.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those that oppose, no. Motion carries unanimously. There are no ordinances, no resolutions. Now we go to item J1. We have one person wishing to speak on J1. Mr. Church. Mr. Jeff Church.
He's not here.
Okay. Well, he wanted to speak, so. See
Oh,
if
wait, here he is.
You coming up, Mr. Church? If you want to play, you got to stay in the ballpark.
Guys
That's a
are,
good statement.
I was out watching you on TV, I'm sorry. Okay, I did want to speak on item J1, which is the RPPA, City of Reno Labor Negotiation Fact Finder Report. I find it interesting, first of all, that it says, which must not include a discussion of the details of the report. I've seen the report. It's very favorable to the city. I have copies of the report. I won't say how I got it, but I've got copies, so if anybody wants a copy, come see me, because I'll discuss it with you. And I just want to point out that, as I've reminded you before, the lifetime health care for police and fire is not sustainable. I do have some ideas on how to compromise on that might be agreeable to both parties. And I believe that the city needs to go forward in accordance with what's in that report, in having proper labor representation and dealing with that through the labor process. But the report's no good if you just roll over and give in to the unions. That report is only good if you take the right stand and have labor negotiations with a qualified party representing the city. I want to point out that under that report, that police and fire who commonly retire at age 50 may live to be 100 years old and get full-time, lifetime, unfunded health care. That's 25 years of service and 50 years of health care. And I am one of those. I'm retired from Reno PD. I get that money. I shouldn't be up here complaining, but I can see that it's a giant Ponzi scheme that's not sustainable. And I may live to be 100 unless I meet a mysterious death or killed by a jealous husband. So, and also along those lines of the fact finder report, I want to thank Dwight Dortch, our councilman, for standing up for some of those issues and making those very well known to the public. And he knows, and the rest of us know, that we have to do something. It's just not sustainable. The only option is the sooner we give in to the city unions, the sooner we can get state takeover and get it resolved that way. Thank you very much.
Do you have the insurance with the police department?
Yes, I do. Lifetime health care.
Okay. And you have also from the Air Force, don't you?
Yes, I do. Very proud to have
very
that from the
much.
Air Force also. Thank you.
Call that double dipping. All right, item J1. Nope, doesn't.
Good afternoon, Robert Chisel, Director of Finance and Administration for the record. I'm here as delegate of the Chief Executive Officer to present the fact finder's report as required in statute. I would point out that statute requires us to present and discuss this without getting into the detail. It requires council to have a discussion of the fact finder report. The statute specifically says not to get into the details of the fact finder report. So we will try to have this discussion without getting into the details of the fact finder report. The fact finder's report is attached in the staff report. The fact finder did find in favor of the city, and I'm here to answer any questions.
That's how you don't get the details, right?
Yeah.
I wonder about a statute that prevents, my First Amendment rights and, discussing matters of discussion. I don't get that, but I was not aware with this statute. The report, the overall, okay.
It's NRS 288-200.
And it's a public document.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that the discussion would take place in attorney-client meetings.
Well, the discussion in the statute says the council or the board will have a discussion of the fact finder's report.
But the details would take place during an attorney-client, I would assume.
I would assume we're probably as much in the dark, if not more than you are. We have.
For the record, Mark Dunnigan, Reno City Attorney's Office. Councilmember Breckus is correct. The statute is strange, and moreover, we don't know how to treat this statute because it's relatively new. It came on in the 2009 legislative session, and not that many municipalities have had one of these to discuss publicly so far. I can tell you that some of the legislative history suggests that the purpose of this statute is just to add another level of transparency to the labor negotiating process when it comes to settling these labor negotiations. I would also point out that the discussion, our reading of the statute is that the discussion should talk about the financial impacts if the fact finder's report is ultimately adopted, and that you would be free to discuss without necessarily getting into the details of what the fact finder found to be credible or not credible in the course of the fact finding, if that's helpful to the discussion.
I have a question with regards to the representation we previously had. How long did it take to get to this point?
Chronologically, it's about a year.
And how much longer do we?
What normally happens is according to statute, there needs to be at least 6 meetings, and then either party can declare impasse if there is no agreement to a contract, Then you go to fact-finding. Fact-finding can be chosen to be binding, or if the parties do not agree, it would be just advisory. In this case, it is advisory. If it is public safety-oriented negotiations, then it would go to binding arbitration. And that's pretty much at the step we are at. The RPPA has chosen to go to binding arbitration, and we're in the process of selecting a arbitrator for that as we speak.
So it took a year of outside counsel's assistance to get us to this two successful, I would say successful points. And how much longer now until final resolution?
Well, to be honest, at this point, we're still determining the timeline with, out the help of outside legal counsel. We're regrouping and trying to determine the timeline. I can't really tell you what that timeline would be. Normally, it would probably be selecting an arbitrator, which usually puts it out a month or two at least. And then usually after that, it takes a couple months to get the arbitrator's report back.
Okay, and then at that point, then it's resolved.
Then it would be resolved. A binding arbitration is binding, and whatever that arbitrator's report is what it will be.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, Tracy Chase, Reno City Attorney's Office. Part of NRS 288-200 is for the Chief Executive Officer through his designee to provide the governing body just the highlights of the impact of the findings and recommendation. So in compliance, if you could just go over a little bit of what is in the staff report so it is on the record and refer as needed. Thank you.
Okay. Robert Chisel again. In the staff report, the city had made 3 proposals to RPPA. One was elimination of retiree health benefits for new employees. It was no change to existing employees. It was just for any new employees after the acceptance of the new bargaining agreement. Number 2 was the elimination of longevity pay and replacing it with the deferred compensation. Again, for new employees, it was no change for any of the existing employees. It would just be any new employees after the acceptance of the new bargaining agreement. And the third item was the splitting of any increases or decreases of future changes in the PERS. Depending on if PERS goes up or down, it could either be a shared cost, and that is in accordance with the Nevada revised statutes. In regards to PERS, those were the 3 items that the city had proposed. The RPPA had made no proposals other than to keep the current bargaining agreement. The fact finder found in favor of the city on all of those counts. The RPPA did ask for reconsideration of the fact finder's report. The fact finder has recently reported back and said his findings stand, and the findings, as I said, are in your staff report talking about what the fact finder had found in regards to the proposals. And he basically found in favor of the city that there was a appropriate request.
Okay. I don't know that we need to go any deeper in this.
And as far as the fiscal impact, it is because it is not for any current employees. The impact would be for future employees. The cost of the OPEB for the entire city of Reno, as we have discussed prior, the entire liability for the city of Reno is about $210 million, of which $110 million is attributable to the police groups. And it is estimated that in the future, there will be an increase of about $45 million in the OPEB liability. It is hard to attribute one to one particular group, but police represents a largest portion of the OPEB liability. As far as the longevity pay, it would be a decrease of 5% for any future police officers going from a 12.5% longevity to a 5% deferred comp match. So in the future, that would be a reduction of about 7.5% for the employees and a savings to the city of Reno. And the third, the PERS contribution is really difficult to ascertain depending on if PERS raises their rates or lowers their rate. It may be an increase or a decrease to the cost for the city and the employee. I do not believe they have ever lowered the PERS rate as long as I'm aware. It has always gone up, but there are many people that say PERS is, does not need to increase its rate, so. It would work, I just want to make sure it works both ways. It works both ways, increase and decrease.
May I ask
But should we bank on that as we go into this legislative session, that they're not going to raise them like they do every legislative
No.
session?
May I ask a question? The 38 million that is referenced on the third paragraph of page 7 of 12, it says, Chisel cogently explained the OPEB liability and the unfunded 38 million police/fire heart/lung liability poses the biggest threats to the city. Of that 38 million, how much is heart-lung and how much is the other retirement benefits? Did you get into that?
38 million is a separate liability as opposed to the OPEB. We have two unfunded liabilities for our employees at the city of Reno. One is the OPEB, which is just retiree medical, and that's that $210 million we speak of frequently. The $38 million refers to heart-lung.
Just heart and lung.
Heart-lung, sometimes referred to as workers' comp, because it is legislature has deemed that it is, attributable to their work as either a police officer or a fireman or firefighter. So therefore, those costs are presumptive, and there's a whole list of issues that become a liability to the city, and if an employee or former employee has one of those conditions, it becomes presumptive, and therefore it becomes a workers' comp injury into the future, and that's a $38 million unfunded liability, which the city has not funded either.
But that's not subject to bargaining of this fact?
No.
It's not subject?
That is in statute. It's also something, though, we have not funded for our employees.
Okay. Are there any other discussion? All right, thank you very much. Item J2.
I think we need a motion.
Oh, yeah. To accept.
Move to accept staff report.
Have a motion, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those that oppose, no. Motion carries unanimously. City Manager's Office update. Mr. Dene.
Sam Dene, the Encyclopedia of Reno Government, and what we have here is, I'm speaking in favor of this, by the way. What we have here is the situation where the city is in discussions with Washoe County to determine how many marijuana dispensary medical marijuana dispensary facilities will be allocated to Reno versus Washoe. And I'm in favor of what Reno is asking for. And by the way, this is another one of Dene's successes. Dene was one of the very few people who came to these podiums several times recommending that the legislature, first of all, agree that medical marijuana dispensaries are a good thing for the citizens. But in that case, I'll have to take the credit along with a few other people who also came to the podium and spoke in favor of medical marijuana. Think of all of the things I've come here and spoken in favor of throughout the years, and the only time somebody joined me to speak in favor of it, it was, of all things, medical marijuana dispensaries. What are the chances? At any rate, I'm in favor of this situation where Reno, when you analyze the size of Reno versus the size of all of Washoe County, and I guess you have to throw in Sparks too, and you're asking that Reno inside of itself receive half of these medical marijuana dispensaries as opposed to only 25%. That's kind of a no-brainer. Roughly half of the people live in Reno. The city manager's nodding his head because he wants to agree with the man who was instrumental in getting him his job in the first place. At any rate, that's really about all I have to say, except I do close out with one thing that I want to throw in here. When these dispensaries are eventually given out, rented out, leased out to dispensary folks, I think that it should be a lottery system. I don't think the richest guy in town or the most powerful guy in town should be able to come down here to these podiums or anywhere or behind in the smoky rooms and the bars. I don't think they should be allowed to come in here and get those dispensaries, because it would be very hypocritical, because in many of the cases of these folks who are trying to get these dispensaries, they are the same people who've been speaking against any marijuana for all of these years. Now, those people should not have any more chance at these dispensaries. And I don't know if she's clapping her hands because the 3 minutes is up, or she's agreeing with me. At any rate, I think you get my point.
Probably the 3 minutes. All right, now we'll go, whoops. Staff report, do you have a staff report on this?
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Megan Salcido for the record. Pursuant to council direction on April 16, 2014, the city manager sent a letter to the Washoe County Board of County Commissioners requesting the BCC to consider revising the percentage allocation of medical marijuana dispensary certificates to be issued within Washoe County for dispensaries located within the city of Reno from 25% to 50%. This allocation revision is authorized by NRS 453A.3261 so as to provide for sufficient supply of medical marijuana to the more populous areas within the county. Staff's understanding of council's intent in making this request was based upon a policy of ensuring access to medicine for residents of the city of Reno and for no other purpose. The Washoe County Board of County Commissioners has discussed the city's request on several occasions, most recently at their June 24, 2014 board meeting, but has not yet taken final action on the request. Based upon the discussion at that meeting, it appears that the County Commission will make a decision on the percentage allocations of medical marijuana dispensary certificates within Washoe County after reviewing the zoning verification requests received by Washoe County, the City of Reno, and the City of Sparks. If they are going to notify the State Health Division of a change in the percentage allocation from that which currently exists within the statute, they must do so by August 18th, 2014 for that change to be effective for this year's annual application review by the state. At this time, it appears that the County Commission will make a decision regarding the dispensary certificate allocation percentages at their August 12th County Commission meeting, though they could do so sooner. While the County Commission has not taken any formal action to make a request for additional information from council, there has been discussion at their dais on more than one occasion regarding the possibility that the City of Reno would provide some sort of financial contribution or other consideration to the county in return for an increase in the percentage allocation of dispensaries certified to operate within the City of Reno. Again, there's been no formal request, but because council is scheduled to be on break between July 16th and August 20th, staff wish to confirm council's basis for requesting the percentage allocation increase as being related to access to medicine for the residents of Reno and not for any financial or other purpose.
Well, they get the taxes and stuff, they get their big share anyway.
That is correct. The taxes collected on any sales would be distributed according to the C-tax formula.
And they get the largest portion of the taxes.
That is correct. Yeah, we are seeking your affirmation of that policy.
I have a material question, substantive. We were just looking at a property in our sphere of influence, or properties in the sphere of influence where we have zoning authority. Say someone comes in to put a dispensary in the sphere of influence, and I don't know how many commercial type properties are there. Do we have business license? I know we have zoning authority there, but do we have business license? Do we get business license revenue, or do we share that? How does that, have we, let's get the answer.
Claudia Hansen, Community Development. It would continue like any other business. So it would be our land use authority, our building code, but the business license would go through Washoe County.
Oh, okay, okay. Well.
Wasn't that the true intent of the way that the state defined it, was by population, and we're just basically asking for the appropriate population-based dispensaries?
Megan Salcido again for the record. The way the statute reads, the Board of County Commissioners of the county may increase the percentage described in this subsection if it determines that to do so is necessary to ensure that the more populous areas of the county have access to sufficient distribution of marijuana for medical use.
We're just asking
and that's the only guidance we've received from the state on that issue.
and the state's in charge.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, if I may, for the record, Cadence Matievich, Assistant City Manager. I think what staff is looking to do, this is almost an item in anticipation based on the prior discussion that's taken place. The Board of County Commissioners hasn't taken any formal action to make the request, but they may do so while you are in your summer recess period. We didn't want to have to call you back for a special meeting to get your input. We wanted to affirm that we understood the policy basis under which you'd made the request, and so that we could respond if we receive such requests for what, if any, financial or other contributions the city might be willing to make in return for the county commission changing the allocation. And it would be our understanding that based on your policy that it's about access to medicine, that financial or other contributions would not be offered.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we've even gone there in our thinking, in our deliberations, so it is what it is, you know, where we've been. I would add, we might be having some meetings during the break, and if it seems like the manager thinks, well, maybe we should bounce back to them and make some decisions, because we do want to move this process along this year, right?
But they don't, I mean, we don't get any more benefit than they get. I mean,
Our population does.
Our
citizens,
population
our
does,
citizens
but
do.
our citizens. So I don't know why they think that we owe money. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Mr. Mayor, for the record, Cadence Matievich, Councilmember Dorch is correct. We would receive business license fees, but I would point out that the same for us is with the county, that the authority to charge those fees is relative to the services that are needed to be provided to support those businesses.
Right.
So the net effect to essentially additional discretionary funds that would be available for general fund use is effectively none.
What is the appeal process in the event they don't grant the additional
The
dismissals?
statute does not provide any appeal process.
No.
So do you just want a motion that we're not going to change the policy that you guys have direction on? Is that what you're looking for?
It would be at the discretion of this council to provide, you know, whatever policy direction you think is appropriate at this time. Certainly, if a different question is posed, we would bring that back and attempt to agendize it again. We're looking for efficiency here to not have to call a special meeting on this particular
Right.
purpose, if in fact a request is made.
Yeah, I mean, I just make the motion that our policy hasn't changed, that we are not looking to make any financial contribution in exchange for those licenses. It's really population-based and access, so.
And that's what required by law. So do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor, say aye. Those that oppose, no. Motion carries unanimously. Item K1, City Board and Commission appointments, Arts and Culture. You want to delay, or do you want to appoint Berner and, okay. Okay, we'll postpone. We'll keep advertising. Downtown Police District.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to appoint Partols to the position that's open.
Okay. Motion and second. All in favor, say aye. Oh, wait a minute here before we take that vote. Mr. Church.
Hi, Jeffrey Church for the record. I just want to be brief. I have no objection to that vote. I did want to point out that the Reno city is the highest tax city in the state, and then we add to it the tax district, the police tax district, which you have now sought to expand. I want to also point out that the city has a separate police tax bond, separate from the tax district, which helps support that tax district. That bond is known as Safety 88, and that was to hire 313 cops. So I would urge the city to comply with that, because we don't have our 313 cops. So those could be used additionally in the downtown tax district to supplement those police down there. That Safety 88 tax bond generates $10 million annually, so it's not small change. And that money presently goes to the general fund. So I would urge you to consider moving that to the police district, or correction, to the police budget, so that can be used to support the entire city of Reno, including that tax district. And that also doesn't show up on our tax bills as a specific bond issue, so that should be added to the tax bill so the citizens know where their money is going to. And as far as both the tax district money and the Safety 88 money, I do have some ideas on how that money can be effectively and better spent, if anybody ever had any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. No other public comments. Have a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those that oppose, no. Motion carries unanimously. Recreation Parks Commission appointments.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to appoint Deborah Enos.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Those that oppose, no. Motion carries unanimously. Identification of any council future agenda items.
I have two, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
There was a memo that one of the media outlets asked for, did a records request for something, and it was a document that we received from another entity that isn't subject to records production, the open records production, and, you know, someone in this organization has it because it was sent to us, and we basically said, no, we're not going to issue it to you because it's not subject to open meetings or open records, and that may be true. I'd like maybe a briefing, you know, to put on, you know, a discussion that staff will provide us a briefing on what are our records requests and how far does that go? Because, you know, say someone sends me a letter about the zoning change there, it's something I received, is it a record? Or someone has a problem with a contract and a bid opening, is that a record? I was very surprised to see that that is a policy that we have, that we don't release documents that flow to us, rather than just we narrow it as documents going out to us. And I'm trying to put that, balance that with our transparency value. So I'd like a discussion on that. And then another one is, I was looking through my notes the other day related to the baseball stadium, and there were some outstanding permit issues back in 2012, early 2013, when we did the support payments for the baseball, and they had a temporary certificate of occupancy, my notes show, not a permanent one, pending some sort of property line adjustment and some sewer line issue, and I was just wondering if the baseball stadium has received their permanent certificate of occupancy yet.
Okay,
Thank you.
Check that. All right, anything else? Any other items for future agenda items? Hearing none, liaison reports. Ms. Brackus.
I have none.
Ms. Edra. Mr. Delgado. Mr. Dorch. Ms. Jordan.
Nope.
Ms. Sheevy. All right, now we go to reports of conference and professional meetings. We'll go now to item L4. Am I missing something? Am I missing something? Oh, okay. Item L4.
Mr. Mayor and Council, this item was brought forward by myself. This is a request for an amendment to my employment contract. There are basically two requests that are in the staff report. One is to extend my current contract, which expires June 30th of 2015, extend that to June 30th of 2016. The second request, which I made based on recommendations on ICMA best practices as far as severance, was to increase the severance from 6 months to 1 year. Given the concerns that have been raised, with that request, I would withdraw that request and just ask for the extension of the contract to June 30th of 2016 with the other technical changes I think that the city attorney's office made.
Okay, we have a couple of people who wish to speak. Mr. Lorton's not here, but he says against contract amendment for city manager, impressed with job you are doing, no need for a severance package, horrible timing. All right, Mr. Church.
Hi, for the record, Jeff Church. I didn't have my hearing aids in. I apologize. Mr. Klinger's very soft-spoken. Did I hear he withdrew his request for a buyout?
Yes.
Okay. Then I'll be extremely brief. Obviously, I was opposed to any kind of a extensive buyout. I think it's within the right of council to hire and fire the city manager as they see without any expensive litigation or he said, she said. I do want to commend Mr. Klinger.
For cause.
For cause, yes, I understand. But then it gets into, well, did we have cause? Didn't we? We're going to get an arbitration. We're going to get a lawyer. So I think it just muddies the water. But I do want to give Mr. Klinger a B grade. I think he's done a very good job of the city being from a point of insolvency to where we're at today. We're still not out of the woods. We still have all the expensive litigation, labor issues, healthcare costs, and even that RPPA fact finder report doesn't let us off the hook for the present employees, so that still goes up. So overall, I do think Mr. Klinger's done a good job and should be retained. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dene.
Sam Day, the Encyclopedia of Reno Government, and again, Mr. Klinger is one of the successes, one of the many successes that I bragged about earlier in my measly 3 minutes, which I could have continued on probably for 3 hours if you'd given me extra time. At any rate, I was the only person who spoke in favor of Mr. Klinger being hired. And last week, I was the only person who spoke in favor of him being continued. And my main reason for saying he should be continued was the fact that he came into this bankrupt city and he's kept it out of de facto bankruptcy. And now the waters have been muddied and then unmuddied. I thought that the Reno Gazette was muddying up the water with his $191,000 claim, but apparently, slap my hand, they were telling the truth, that Mr. Klinger was requesting a $191,000 severance package for cause and all that other baloney. But anyway, I'm happy that he's withdrawing that. I think you should call that young lady who was up here earlier and explain to her, because you made it sound like she was wrong. But the good news in the perspective now is, instead of the $20,000 of early retirement you're offering the fireman, which is 1/10 of what he would get if he was laid off, Mr. Klinger, now it's only down to 1/5. So if he's laid off for cause or not for cause or whatever the reason may be, he's only going to get 5 times more than the firemen who were going to maybe take early retirement to try to save some jobs. At any rate, I just think that I agree with Lorton, and I think I agree with Mr. Church. I definitely do, but generally speaking, I don't see why he would get a $100,000. That's like more than twice the amount of money a citizen in Reno makes. The average citizen that's maybe almost 3 times more than the average citizen in Reno makes. And he wants to get 3 times and I'm not speaking against him. I'm glad you're keeping him on. He's done a good job. But that's about 3 times what the average citizen in Reno, this $100,000, not the $200,000, to $100,000 is 3 times more. And he's going to get that for not doing anything. Geez, throw me into that briar patch. And then he can go out and find a job somewhere else or not do anything and go fishing. At any rate, I'm in support of this. Maybe it didn't sound like it. Maybe it didn't sound like I'm supporting this. I'm in support of it. He's done a good job. I've said that before. It would be silly of me. I'd be shooting myself in the feet if I didn't say he was doing a good job, because just like the chief of police, I'm the guy who pretty much got him his job.
Thank you very much. I don't think that's really what happened, but that's okay. Chair will entertain a motion to extend Mr. Klinger's contract by 1 year.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Discussion?
Yeah, just really quickly. I would support extending the contract. I would not support the severance.
He pulled it.
I'm just clarifying that for the record.
Yeah, and I want to confirm that, I made my comments about my evaluation of him last week, but also my understanding, because I did not have this knowledge before, and people have raised it to me, is it's always been the practice of this body each year to extend out the manager's contract 1 more year. So it never comes out on a term. Yeah, I didn't know that before, and it sounds reasonable and something I understand. So that's what is the practice, the continued practice of this body. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, Tracy
Yes.
Chase, for clarification, that would include all of the edits in the contract for NRS compliance.
Yes.
That was amended.
Have a motion, second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those that oppose, no. Motion carries unanimously. And and I want to maybe get to be the culprit because we've been looking for best practices. And I'm the one that triggered Mr. Klinger to look into this because under ICMA, best practice is for year buyouts and stuff like that. And I'm the one that caused the commotion, not Mr. Klinger. Item L5, Ms. Brackus.
It's resolution number 7990, resolution donating council donation funds to Transforming Youth Recovery for its Doors to Recovery public art project in the amount of $500.
Have a motion, second. Have a second. All in favor say aye. Those that oppose, no. Motion carries unanimously. Item L6.
I just think there's a lot of mixed messages out there, like we had talked about. I think it's important that we put together a public safety forum so the citizens can understand our positions, and if they have questions and concerns, they need to be able to come here and have a voice. So I think that's important. That's something that we can put on the agenda after we get back from council break, if that's okay with everyone.
Okay, we have somebody who wishes to speak, Mr. Church. Determined to make this go long, isn't he?
Hello, for the record, Jeff Church, and I'm not up here to hear myself speak, but it all does relate, of course, to our labor costs and some of our runaway problems. I think it's a great idea to have a public safety forum at the last city council. Many of you talked about the miscommunication that was going out, one example being the firefighter that alleged they made $22 an hour. My big question is who, what, when, why, where. Let's do it soon. Let's make it well publicized. Let's make it in a location where the public can attend. And very, very importantly, I've attended a couple of these that's like watching paint dry, where somebody speaks and then everybody leaves. All parties should be able to speak, including people like myself that are opposed to some of those issues. Let the union speak. This isn't for the city fire chief to get up and go, oh, we had this many calls and thank you very much, we're all done. You need to have free speech. Everybody gets to weigh in, including the unions. I also would like to have the labor reps there, the legal representatives from the city, because I have questions such as Safety 88. Why does that money go to the general fund? And again, public safety, I assume we're talking about both police and fire. So I want to be able to ask some of those questions, and I want to get answers. Not, here I speak, and of course you generally don't answer me. So I'd like to be able to ask those questions about where does our money go, what's going to happen, et cetera, et cetera. So the sooner the better, and let's get all that information out. And I think the public needs to know what's in those labor contracts. So I hope that's part of that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I might, I think this is a good idea. I'd like to see us maybe start to do some things a little more innovative than what we've done in the past. And maybe I'll just suggest an opportunity is, a lot of bodies have hearings, right? So, people come up and a lot of federal agencies or whoever hearing. So maybe it's a workshop setting of us hearing all these things and questions are asked. We don't have answers. Our staff doesn't have answers or whatever. Maybe we could, post it on the website. Here are the factual information. I don't know if Councilmember Sheevy, in her thinking of this idea, thought maybe we would be involved.
Absolutely.
As hearing, like a hearing setting maybe? Is that?
Well, I think, first of all groups must participate. And I think Mr. Church is right on. I think there's a lot of information that needs to come out, but there's also where the public really needs to be able to ask these questions. And I think that that's going to be incredibly important. But also, we have to do a good job of getting the word out there with the media. I'll make sure that I reach out to them, and so that it's highly publicized. I think that's been a huge issue in the past for us, is that we don't do a very good job of really letting the citizens know when these things take place. I think you're right. We need to do it much more innovative. And I'm not talking about an hour where someone gets up and just says a few words and puts some fluff in it and then walks away. I think, we have to have these conversations because this has been a hot topic. So,
And before you do it, you need to have some rules and guidelines of how it works.
And much more scheduled, too. I think,
Sure.
you can do it 2 o'clock, we're going to have this discussion, so we're not wasting everyone's time or the day. And you guys can choose to decide if you guys want to be part of the discussion or not.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
It's been said at this council table, oh boy, at least a half a dozen times in the last couple of years, and it's even been in a few of the emails that we've received recently, that public safety could or potentially also includes sewer and roads I mean, it's been said at this table a few times, so I think we need to clarify that. What is public safety? What really, which services do you want covered?
Water quality,
Yes.
roads. The only thing, in addition to that, I know I brought up at a prior meeting, a policy discussion about where ground rules permitted, where the offer, counter-offer from the different labor groups, that those documents be made public. And I think that at this safety forum is an appropriate venue for that document to be made public.
And I mean, I think this is all about transparency. That's why I'm calling this. I think it's important that everyone just puts it all out there.
Yeah. Some things won't be able to be discussed because negotiations are going on, but I believe, I know at least with fire, that the ground rules do permit for us to publicly give to the media and the public it's not an offer, counter-offer, but it's what we're asking and what they're asking, and
Right.
to make that public.
And I'll sit down with Deanna, too. I mean, she's very familiar with this. So let's sit down and we'll come up with a,
Mr. Mayor and Council, I guess what I would ask is, if council approves this today, and it sounds like you will, that I get together with staff and that we bring back some ideas
Sure.
to present
Sure.
and a timeline.
Timeline
Yeah.
and some rules and guidelines, or it'll turn into a zoo.
Right, because we've heard a lot of different comments, I think, from different council
Thanks,
members
great.
today, and I think
Sure.
it would be best for us if we could sort of frame the idea, bring it back to council, and you can either say yes, no, or change this, do
yeah.
that, so that we
I
can
think that's a
have a
great
clear
idea,
picture.
because you guys know what you're capable of and what works with your schedule. Dwight's correct. I know you guys are really busy, and so that would be great.
And I mean, I'd echo to Councilmember Zadra's comments. It would be, public safety would be police, fire, emergency response. I think infrastructure, if this is a successful event, maybe we have an infrastructure hearing or forum, because that is our other critical service, that we need to set reasonable expectations of the public of what our ability to provide services in
Okay.
these are. So-
I have a motion, do I have a second? I have a second, all in favor say aye. Those that oppose, no. Motion carries unanimously. Item L7, Ms. Sheevy.
The retract parcels. I understand there's some logistics to this. Maybe. where's
Well, we
Mr.
should
Chisel?
spend some time looking at the leases and see what we can do.
Mhm.
And so you want staff to look at that?
Yes, Mr. Chisel has already given me some ideas and how this works with these retract parcels. So, but again, I know you guys are really busy, so I don't want to.
Well, for the record, Bill Thomas, Assistant City Manager, the one thing I would ask is maybe we not limit it just to leasing. I mean, it's clear what the intent is from the staff standpoint. So my only comment was going to be maybe we don't limit it to leasing, but basically to, what the council wants us to do is look at, can we use that property to facilitate the generator too, as I understand it. And whatever that turns out to be, we will bring back to you to say, here's the solution that we, working with these people, are recommending to you.
But
And it may or may not be a lease, but
I wouldn't limit it to generation two. I would look at what can we do with those properties and how we do them. Can we lease them? Can we sell them? How do you get releases from them and do the whole same thing?
yeah, I just want to make sure it was broad enough, if that's really what you want us
But
to
you
look
need to
for.
cover the whole book.
And I'm under the impression you can't sell those. Is that correct?
You can, but
You
there's a
can?
bond, there's a way to do it with. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, it depends on what's collateralized against the property.
Oh, okay.
All right,
Great.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second. All in favor, say aye. Those that oppose, no. Motion carries unanimous. L8, Mr. Delgado.
I think this basically lays it out that looking to have staff work with the Nevada Office of Veteran Services for the National Day of Service event on September 12th. They reached out to me wanting to do a project, possibly a cleanup or something else for veterans to do some
Okay.
outreach.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second. All in favor, say aye. Those that oppose, no. Motion carries unanimously. Item L9.
Mr. Mayor, you know what? This did not capture what I had hoped it would, and so I don't think we're on topic here, and I meant under our previous L items to give the exact verbiage to the section that I'm looking at. And I'd ask that we not have this discussion and we go back up to L. Yeah, okay. Well, I want to make sure that it can get on. What I would really like is discussion and possible direction to staff to initiate an amendment to RMC 1808502, eliminating the vague and arbitrary provision that allows the administrator authority to approve nonconformities to come into closer conformity to current regulations, and confirming that it is the city council authority to allow nonconformities to change. So that is, it's a little technical because we're just talking about one piece of the zoning ordinance, but the piece of the zoning ordinance that was cited here is not the one that I had hoped. So,
You want to put that on a future item?
yeah, if we could put that on the 16th, and I'll motion to put that on the 16th. then-
Okay, we'll put that on the
Okay.
16th.
Do we have a second?
And we won't do anything on this
Okay.
one. Item L10. Ms. Brackus, L10.
This is kind of follow-up to an item we talked a couple times about, and that would be with that interlocal that we did on, and I want to be clear, the business license component of the Excella program, because the Building Enterprise Fund uses that also, but that money comes out of a different funding source and is not subject to this business license tax. That staff gives direction to go talk to our partners on this agreement, which are Sparks and Washoe County, about amending it so that then the councils could start charging the fees sooner than later. And we've had this discussion previously.
Okay, so that's a motion.
Well, they wanted the direction formally, so.
Okay, that's a motion, a second. All in
Okay.
favor, say aye.
Aye. And staff,
Those
you're-
opposed, no.
Yeah.
Motion carries unanimously.
Staff's clear on this.
Item L11, Ms. Jordan.
Retirement buyout for all employees. In thinking this through further, given the steep cuts that certainly a number of our departments have incurred, I'm not sure that we would net a real savings here, because we would have to replace those positions. We've been cut to the bone, and I'm not sure this would get us where we would like to go.
And I think you could probably include it in the budget discussion on the 15th if you
Yeah.
want, to bring it up then. If there's opportunities maybe within departments or something like that as we start talking about the budget.
Okay.
There might be
So this
specific
is no
examples.
motion this
Yeah, not for
Might be
this. We'll just bring
specific
it up.
examples of where it might be appropriate.
Any public comments? We don't have a public hearing at 6. No public comments. My favorite motion. I have a motion, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those that oppose, no. Motion carries unanimously. This meeting's adjourned.